Why Africa, you ask? Why not some of the great cities of Europe or Asia? We've traveled to every continent but Antarctica, but nothing we've seen compares to Africa. Perhaps only the Galapagos of Ecuador in South America. Our welcome by the Ngoni tribe, originally of the Zulu, on our first visit to the beautiful country of Zambia. With its beautiful and smiling people,
the site.
Where else can you get so close? The 3 full-grown lions at the waterhole after a night of hunting and perhaps feasting. For the lions are nocturnal animals, out during the day but at work during the night. Judging from the sign of her ribs, I would say that that night had not been a successful one. It was time to find a place to sleep, because daytime hunts are not usually very successful for even the best of lions. Perhaps the lioness was out looking for her cubs, which she had hidden away for the night, somewhere in the bush. Suddenly, from out of nowhere, came a young male lion, sporting the prize from the hunt the night before, the horns or antlers of an impala. He's someone playing with it all day long. Where else can you come upon a monitor lizard lying quietly in a tree, waiting for its next meal? On the same day, heading back for lunch one day, there was a report of a leopard hidden in the bush. Adjacent to the bush were two birds frantically shouting warning signals to whatever animal or bird could hear them. Most tourists on safari are either very loud and or very inquisitive. That's why on most safaris, Nancy and I have traveled alone with our own guide, since I'm shooting video with sound.
Anybody. Even us, they are warning us.
What's the motivation for the birds that are not in danger
to
warn others? What's their motivation? Why are they warning other animals? Why are the birds warning?
So for the leopard, they're always solitary. The male and the female, they come together when they mate. The females, they stay with the babies until they are 2 years.
But is it scared of us?
Yes.
Oh yeah, it's scared right now. It's very nervous.
Yeah, it is.
Between the adjacent village and our first camp, Larula Town, meaning the footprints of the lion, there was a wire fence which had been breached during the night. It appeared that one or more lions had crossed into the village because there were tracks. Maud, our guide at our first camp, Larula Town, meaning the footprints of the lion, was very persistent, and he immediately drove the vehicle through the high brush, feeling that he could find that lion. I could see a large shadow hidden in the brush. And there it was, a magnificent full-grown male hiding in the tall grass. He's ready for next time. Only in Africa can you see such a scene. This was certainly not the Bronx Zoo or even Prospect Park. On the next day, we ran into a magnificent full-grown cheetah
Sunrise?
hidden in the bush. This animal looked scared because there were many vehicles surrounding it as word had gotten out that there was a cheetah in sight. Because it was lying down in the bush, we didn't have the opportunity to see the magnificent, streamlined greyhound-like body of the African cheetah. An animal capable of running up to 70 miles an hour for a short distance. After lunch, we went out on the Zambezi River.
Where the four countries meet: Botswana, Namibia, Zimbabwe, and Zambia. This river is the borderline
A river
between Botswana
which separates three countries:
Namibia,
Zambia, Botswana, and Namibia,
wild animals,
the last of which we were not going to visit. And as we arrived on the river, there in full sight was an entire herd of elephants, led by the matriarch and followed by sisters and daughters and a few very young elephants. More properly known as calves. No sooner we moved away from the river did we see a huge hippopotamus, the most dangerous animal to humans in Africa, although only a vegetarian. But the natural habitat of the hippopotamus is not on land, but in the beautiful waters around Africa. We were on a mission. We were attempting to track the legendary African wild dogs, which Nancy and I had never seen before this day, although we had a couple of near misses.
Beautiful time of day. They wouldn't treat you as prey, they wouldn't think you were prey.
They do have big teeth, though.
And enormously strong jaws, have they got really strong jaws?
Yes, they do.
You have counted 13?
They hunt with pets.
The maximum number of the wild dogs in the tribe is 26. And
Beautiful shots.
this pet, they have an alpha.
The African wild dog is a relentless hunter. There they were, an entire pack of wild dogs, as beautiful and as magnificent as we had ever heard. It looked like they had spent the night of hunting because they looked tired. Some were resting, but a few always had their eyes on us. Like wolves, the African wild dog hunts in packs, except for the pups, which are left back in the den.
I think so. I can hear that.
We spent some time trying to figure out which one was the alpha male, because a pack of dogs were always led by an alpha male. But they all looked alike, and we just could guess as to which one was the leader.
The McDonald of the bush. As you can see, that black, that M there at the bar. McDonald, fast food for leopards and
We encountered another leopard on our travels. And in the presence of the leopard, the usual warning sounds were sent out to the wildlife in the area by the baboons and the birds. That's what I wanted. Chobe National Park was all that we expected it to be.
Well, yeah, it's right across between the two.
It was time to leave to Zambia. To the ferry slip, where truck drivers wait 2 to 3 weeks, sleeping under their trucks before they can get across the river. Zambia, the home of one of the 7 natural wonders of the world, Victoria Falls. And we were going to spend 2 nights near the falls. The Zambezi Sun Hotel, with wild zebras on our front lawn. Our first view follows the animals of Moise Oyatunya. He's the zebra control. Smoke that thunders. The mighty Zambezi River at flood stage. The bridge between Zimbabwe on the left and Zambia on the right.
You're a movie star.
People bungee cord jump from the center of that bridge down to just above the waves of the river. The river was so rough that the whitewater rafting had been eliminated for the time being. On our second day at the falls, we had a wonderful guide who told us everything about these magnificent falls. But most of all, he provided us with raincoats, and we sure could have used them the day before. We could understand why they called it Mozi Otunya, the smoke that thunders, because it certainly thundered while we were there. And the smoke would block our vision of the falls. The falls would literally disappear from our sight. What better way to end a beautiful trip but with a rainbow on your shoulder?